The greatest act of faith is not seizing a crown. It is laying it down for God's will. Most people know the name David, the shepherd boy who killed Goliath and became king. But hidden in the book of Samuel is another story, quieter yet just as powerful. The story of Jonathan, Saul's son, the prince who could have been king, but chose instead to give away his crown. Before David ever entered the scene, Jonathan had already shown his faith. In 1 Samuel 14, while Saul hesitated, Jonathan turned to his armor-bearer and said, "Nothing can hinder the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few." With only the two of them, Jonathan climbed a rocky cliff and struck down about 20 Philistines. Panic spread through the enemy camp, and Israel won a great victory. Jonathan was not only a warrior prince. He was a man of faith, a man who trusted God even when the odds were impossible. Then David appeared, young, fearless, carrying Goliath's head after slaying the giant. Jonathan watched and instantly recognized the same faith he carried. The Bible says in 1 Samuel 18 verse 1, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. Jonathan did something shocking for a prince. He took off his royal robe and placed it on David. He gave him his sword, his bow, his belt, the symbols of his right to the throne. It was more than friendship. It was surrender. Jonathan was silently declaring, "God has chosen you. Though the throne was mine by birth, I will not fight his will." But Saul's heart grew dark. His jealousy of David turned to rage. More than once, Saul hurled a spear to kill him. At one point, he commanded Jonathan to take David's life. Jonathan's loyalty was tested. Would he obey his father or defend his friend? He chose truth. In 1 Samuel 19, Jonathan boldly confronted Saul. "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David, because he has not wronged you. What he has done has benefited you greatly." For a brief moment Saul relented, but the hatred soon returned. Jonathan was forced into a painful role, protector of the man who would one day replace him. In 1 Samuel 20, Saul's anger reached a breaking point. When Jonathan defended David at the royal table, Saul's fury burned against his own son. He cursed Jonathan and hurled a spear at him. That night, Jonathan slipped away to warn David. He devised a secret signal with arrows. When David saw the sign, he knew Saul would not rest until he was dead. The two met in the fields for one last embrace. Both men wept, but David wept more. Jonathan blessed him with the covenant words, "Go in peace, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord. The Lord shall be between me and you, and between your descendants forever." Jonathan remained faithful to his father, even as Saul sank deeper into madness. He fought at Saul's side until the very end. On the slopes of Mount Gilboa, 1 Samuel 31, Israel was overwhelmed by the Philistines. Saul's sons, including Jonathan, were struck down in battle. The prince who gave away his crown fell with his sword still in hand, faithful to the last breath. When David heard the news, his grief was overwhelming. The mighty warrior who had slain giants tore his clothes and wept. In 2 Samuel 1, he sang a lament for Jonathan. "How the mighty have fallen in battle! I grieve for you, Jonathan my brother. You were very dear to me. Your love for me was wonderful, more wonderful than that of women." David would sit on the throne, but he never forgot the friend who laid it down for him. Jonathan never wore the crown. His name is often overshadowed by Saul's failures and David's victories. Yet without Jonathan's sacrifice, David's path to the throne may never have been possible. Jonathan shows us that true greatness is not measured by the power we gain, but by the power we are willing to surrender. He gave up his throne so God's plan could stand, and in doing so, wrote his name into the eternal kingdom. Jonathan's life reminds us, obedience sometimes means stepping aside, letting go, and trusting that God's story is bigger than ours. His crown was never made of gold, it was made of surrender.